According to player feedback received by Blizzard, Roadhog was overpowered because he had the ability to stun enemy players and then one-shot them with his gun. He was allowed to do that because he had a high health pool and a long range on his hook that itself had a short cooldown. That meant he was able to walk out into the open, or even from behind, look for a hook, and retreat without much consequence. On top of that, Roadhog had a fast self-heal ability with a low cooldown that he could use for self-sustainability. Roadhog was given the tools to be courageous and create a massive orbital space of enemy fear around him due to all the potential hook angles, and had the ability to withstand and counteract the damage he took during it. He was not a tank like Reinhardt, who nullifies incoming damage with a massive shield that also protects allies behind it. He was not able to delete bullets out of the air to protect allies and himself like D.Va can. Roadhog was a tank that didn't withstand damage to protect his allies. Instead, he helped teams push forward and reduce the enemy team member count like an instant kill Widowmaker headshot. This put Roadhog into a weird position when it comes to nerfing his damage output. Take away his one-shot ability and the hero loses the huge presence he had before. You had to physically position yourself out of Roadhog's line of sight, out of fear that he'd choose you next. Without that, you could take him on safely with enough health and available abilities of your own. This emphasized a weak point of Roadhog. He has no mobility. Roadhog can't hook and move, he can't heal and move, and he can't sprint or retreat at any kind of faster rate than normal running speed. That means that when he ventures out to look for a target to hook, he'd likely take significant damage because nothing in his toolset allows him to avoid it. That damage equals ultimate charge for the enemy team. As more people shoot Roadhog as he walks out, heals, and returns to the fight, the more ultimate abilities the enemy team gain. In a solid game of Overwatch where everyone is playing their best and small skirmishes are superseded by consistent 6 vs 6 team fights, ultimates are all that really matters. Teams fight to charge ultimates and then coordinate to use as little as possible to eliminate the entire enemy team, or enough to gain the numbers advantage to easily clean up the rest. Roadhog, given his high health and ability to quickly replenish it, was essentially a walking ultimate battery for the enemy team. If he can't simply eliminate enemy team members by himself and render moot any ult charge gain for a straight, incredibly important pick, the hero would be a liability. Roadhog, unfortunately, for fans of the hero and even developer Blizzard itself, lived and died over his one-shot hook combo. His eventual change to have reduced damage removed most of his utility. Roadhog became more of a team-oriented hero, which might not sound like a bad thing in a heavily team-based game, but given the realities of the game's current meta and the general self-sufficiency and tank design, meant he was generally useless. Roadhog's new combo relied on combined damage from teammates to instantly kill his hook to target. That kind of teamwork demand for a baseline ability meant it was easier to play other heroes in his place, like Reaper, an offense hero who heals himself based on damage dealt. Reaper can walk into fights shooting and have little fear of dying if he's avoiding the enemy's direct attention enough. Like Roadhog was before, Reaper could kill low health heroes fast and put tremendous pressure on tanks and support heroes too. And this is not to mention the hero's 2 movement abilities, one of which gives him complete invulnerability. Enter Overwatch's newest hero, Doomfist. Doomfist deals massive burst damage via his set of mobile abilities that stun enemy heroes. Doomfist can one-shot most heroes at a lower cooldown than Roadhog's hook. Doomfist has a smaller health pool, but also gains temporary shields whenever he lands one of his 3 abilities. All of that, combined with his primary shotgun fire, means he's a high damage, high mobility, insta-kill hero. He's about momentum and fast, nearly unblockable damage. Doomfist, like Roadhog, lives and dies by his Rocket Punch ability. This move has a small charge-up time, and when unleashed, deals significant damage to an enemy hero and even more damage if they hit a wall as they get pushed back. It also cannot be blocked by barriers from Marisa or Reinhardt. Overwatch, as any Doomfist victim now knows, is filled with things to get slammed into. The extra damage from hitting a wall is less about the positioning of the victim and more about the angle at which Doomfist punches. Doomfist can turn and also move at a slower speed when he's charging his fist. This means that it's fairly easy to land the Rocket Punch, especially given the large hitbox that counts as a successful hit to enemy heroes. From the enemy team's perspective, if a Doomfist is nearby, he's not unlike old Roadhog. You fear his ability to stun and one-shot you. The problem is Doomfist is encouraged by his shields, low cooldowns, and multiple abilities to stun to keep pressuring you to stay and not duck out to heal. Without stuns, insta-kills, or protection of your own, you're likely dead. Even abilities that give you mobility don't help. Mercy can quickly fly to allies, but Doomfist can readjust his Rocket Punch to catch her mid-flight. D.Va, a tank with a huge amount of health and armor, can get comboed by Doomfist from very far away, even if she's trying to use her boosters to retreat. Soldier is the only hero that can infinitely run, but even he can't hide from Doomfist's Rocket Punch. Doomfist, in terms of space created and consequences for missing his abilities, is a bigger threat than Roadhog ever was. Under the right hands, Doomfist can decimate most of a team by himself without much support from his teammates. He has the mobility that Roadhog never had, he has the ability to self-heal instantly that Roadhog never had, and his abilities are all on much lower cooldowns. Doomfist isn't even a tank, which means he's not even a giant ultimate charge sponge for the enemy team. Doomfist is Genji, except he doesn't have the level of skill and time that Genji players need to fully land a full kill combo. Doomfist, by pure numbers alone, is just as, and arguably more, powerful than Roadhog ever was, and if Blizzard's primary reason for nerfing Roadhog was the one-shot combo and the dread that it gave players, then Doomfist should receive the same criticism. Overwatch is about the dynamics of playing a shooter where everyone doesn't die instantly. There's room for teamwork, positioning, and abilities. The entire support class of heroes exists to add sustain to allies so that the fights are longer and more complex. This isn't Call of Duty where you sprint out of your spawn point and hope you see the enemy soldier before he sees you to win the firefight. This is a game about grouping up as a team, making pushes, defending pushes, and overcoming strategic fights. Doomfist exemplifies the game's push toward faster team fights. Right now, the dive meta is rampant and competitive, and even not as competitive Overwatch. Winston, the giant, incredibly mobile gorilla tank, is played constantly, be it in low-stress quick play or the highest levels of the competitive mode. Dive exploits the massive advantage to aggressive, focused plays over methodical, territorial fights. Winston dives onto weak targets, and the rest of the team, usually made of mobile heroes like Tracer and D.Va and Genji, apply pressure and finish off weak enemies. It's common for this kind of team composition to have the weakest healers with the most support utility simply because failed pushes can be attempted again given the short fights. You dive and dive and dive until something gives. A hero like Doomfist, while not common yet in the meta composition, only adds to the pressure from these types of battles where getting eliminations as fast as possible is key. The ability to kill an enemy hero before they have any time to prolong the fight, like using an ultimate or their abilities, is huge, so Doomfist will surely find common use if the game's meta doesn't change. Blizzard has tweaks to its heroes on the horizon, some of which are playable in the game's test server. They've given Roadhog the ability to heal with reduced damage on the move. Widowmaker is surprisingly a good counter to Doomfist, while have increased mobility for escaping and repositioning. Even Orisa, the last hero added to the game, has increased fire rate and a bigger shield. Junkrat, a defense hero made for locking down narrow pathways, also has the ability to toss out 2 high damage mines in succession, giving him incredible burst and mobility. These changes strengthen the less mobile heroes and give the game's roster more potential to brace the onslaught of Doomfist and Dive, but it might not be enough. Watch any pro game of Overwatch and you can see how important mobility and speed is. All of the players operate at a level of skill where efficiency is the highest priority. Get it done fast where the least amount of variables exist and you win. Overwatch has always thrived on the exact opposite of this type of play. It's what makes the game very different. Roadhog never felt fun to play against, he felt oppressive and threatening. Doomfist is the same way, and it's going to be necessary for Blizzard to fight against this naturally growing favor of insta-kills and keep Overwatch more than your average shooter.